Our outcomes are a function of our choices, and you gotta own them. Take 0. All right, so this is this is a conversation I have all the time. When people come and seek advice, one of my kids, colleagues, employees, and they're facing some type of dilemma. I'm going to talk about the process here in a second. The steps at which we seek guidance. I have this conversation all the time, that our outcomes are a function of our choices. And how do you make the right choices? So, but I have this conversation all the time. If one of my kids come to me and they're, not happy with one of their outcomes, or, one of my colleagues, I consult with a lot of other businesses, in my professional life. And, I'll have business colleagues who reach out and they're looking for guidance. Really, common question I get in my other life is, we have a very popular YouTube channel in the industrial automation community, which is not a very big community globally. I think it's only about 1 million people, and we have like 13,000 subscribers. So that's a huge percentage of the potential audience. So our YouTube channel is really, really popular, in our community. We've built it over, 3 years or whatever, and we manage a Discord server for that community, the Industry 4.0 community, and we've really elevated our profile and had a huge impact on the way other organizations run their businesses and achieve good outcomes for their clients and for the community in general. Number one question I get over there in that world is, Walker, how did you do that? How did you and your team achieve those outcomes? That is the measurables that I just gave there. 13,000 subscribers, 3,000 members in our Discord server, like another 5,000, I think maybe 20 something thousand on LinkedIn, another 5,000 over here. It's not just us as an influencer. It's not even really influencer. It's educator is what we're doing, and just happen to be using social media to do it. How did we do that? And they never really liked the answer. Okay. But the answer is really quite simple. We approached digital media the exact same way we approach everything in our personal lives and our business lives, and that is through the lens of our values, right? Transparency, authenticity, expertise, humility, servant leadership. Those core values aren't just the way I live my life. I mean, they're not just the way I run my businesses. They're the way I live my life. I literally run everything through the core values. Whenever my team is facing a dilemma, I say, what do our values say we should do here, right? What the subject of the video today, which is our outcomes are a function of our choices. This is a conversation I have all the time, right? But in that other world, when people say, how did you achieve that? I say the same way we achieve everything else. We're transparent, we're authentic, we're experts, we exercise humility, and we're servant leaders. And they never like the answer, okay? I'm not going this content here on adversity and success, where we're talking about how you can take adversity and turn it into success. That is, literally use it as a tool, use it as a coat of armor, use it as a mechanism for achieving success. The way that I'm communicating this to you is the same way I communicate everything. Anybody who works with me, my kids, my siblings, my family. I'm the same person. I talk the same way everywhere I go, which, by the way, has caused a lot of, problems in my marriage at times, because my wife and I work together, and she's got to deal with, the way I am at work and the way I am at home, and maybe sometimes it gets annoying for her. But that's a topic of a different discussion, right? We achieve those gains, those outcomes we were looking for, the same way we achieve all outcomes. Right there, in this world, too many people try to compartmentalize work and home, right? And they don't understand that if you look at the most successful people in life, right? And I assume you want success. That means what type of success? You want success in your family. You want success in your friendships, your relationships. You want success relative to your community. You want success in business. You want financial success. You want educational success. Whenever you do something, you want to win. You want to have good outcomes. There are different rules at work and home for that. This is life. I mean, one thing that the fourth industrial revolution has done for us, or the fourth digital revolution, the digital revolution has done for us, is that it has merged together our work and home lives, right? So for the first time in civilized human history, we have an opportunity for everyone to exercise their home values and their work values in one cohesive strategy for the very first time, right? So I'm going to talk about today is your outcomes are a function of your choices, and you have to own them. You have to own them. If you want to change your outcomes, you got to change your choices. Okay, it's real simple, right? And I have a little chart that I've done for my team many times. I've done this for my kids. I actually have a whiteboard in my foyer at the house, and I've got whiteboards everywhere. I got a vibe board over here. Constantly. I'm a big marker guy or whatever. If you look at the most successful people in the world, there's no difference between who they are at home and or at work. They're the same person. Okay, they're literally the same person. I am the same person at home and at work. There's no difference. I don't go into meetings trying to be a professional. I go into meetings trying to be an expert who's transparent and who's authentic and who exercises humility. Okay, what's humility? Humility is, we'll talk about this in later videos, but this is a really important one. My father used to tell me when I was a kid that you have to know two things in life to be successful. Okay, so they did the pillars for us: discipline, respect, hard work, my parents. But my dad used to say this thing all the time, that you need to know two things in life to be really successful. Number one, you got to know what you're good at. And you need to become an expert at what you're good at. And number two, more importantly, you have to know what you're not good at. And you got to surround yourself with the people who are good at the things you're not. Okay? So when I go into a meeting, I'm a transparent person who's authentic. I'm myself. I'm an expert and I act like it. I am humble. I exercise humility. I don't speak like an expert on subjects I don't know, and I make sure I bring people with me who are experts at the things I'm not an expert at. And I'm a servant leader. That is, I deliver for the people I'm leading in spite of them sometimes. I'll do the hard work as a leader. Sometimes if I'm holding you accountable, if I'm guiding you, I'm going to guide you with love. If I'm holding you accountable, I'm going to use a 3-step process. I'm going to ask nicely, remind nicely, drop the hammer. Why? Because I'm trying 3 different techniques to get you to the outcomes you want. Right? That's servant leadership. Okay. So back to the subject here, which is, if you don't like the outcomes in your life, you need to change your choices. If you want to change your choices, you got to change the adversity that you got to overcome. If you want to change the adversity you want to overcome, you got to change the challenges you face. If you want to change the challenges you face, you got to change the situations you put yourself in. If you want to change the situations you put yourself in, you got to start with your values and beliefs. Okay? One last thing, values and beliefs, they go directly to how you make those decisions when you face adversity. So what I'm going to do is, let me share my screen. I want to show something over here. Okay? All right, so what does this mean? If you want to change your outcomes, okay, this is life right here. This is literally the mechanism. This is every day. This is 100 times a day. This is 10,000 times a week. This is 40,000 times a month. This is hundreds of thousands times a year. Add all those up over the course of your life, you get more good outcomes. You're going to have that life you want to achieve. I mean, we're literally breaking life down into its simplest form. All right, so let's start with this. Your values and beliefs. In the last video you saw, I talked about what do I believe? And the exercise was go through and write down what do you believe, okay? And let me preface this right here. I'm not a psychologist. I mean, my education is sociology, electrical engineering, and education, right? I did my graduate work in education. I studied electrical engineering, and I studied sociology in college. Those are my educational background. I'm not a shrink, okay? I'm not a psychologist. What I am is a poor kid who made good, okay? And lots of people ask me how I made good. How did you do that? Your mom got murdered when you were 7. You were adopted by a poor family. You faced adversity through your whole life. I mean, how did you put yourself through college? How did you overcome all the challenges you faced in college? Like, my life hasn't been smooth. It's been a rocky road. But the reason I am where I am right now is because I have more good outcomes in my life than I do bad. And those good outcomes are a function of the choices I made at the hardest times in my life. Okay, if you look back at the video where I talk about victimhood as a choice, I mean, first thing you got to start with is take responsibility. Stop making excuses and take responsibility for your outcomes. Okay, you're not a victim. Victimhood's a choice. You choose to be a victim. If there's anybody on the earth who has a right to say I'm a victim, it's me. My stepdad murdered my mom when I was 7. Somebody literally gave that to me on a silver platter. Here's your crutch. You never got to take responsibility ever again for anything that ever happens to you. You can always blame it on this. And Lord knows we live in a society that encourages people to be victims. I mean, it encourages them to be victims. Why? So the people who are encouraging you to be victims can be your knight, okay? So here's life. This is every day, right? Your values and beliefs, okay, are the absolute fucking core, right? So everything that you do is left to right here, right? So your values are it's your own set of principles which you consider of great importance. I value transparency, authenticity, expertise, humility, and servant leadership. People may ask me, do you value love? Of course, but I think that falls under servant leadership, right? Do you value honesty? Yes, that falls under transparency, okay? Do you value hard work? Yes, that falls under expertise, okay? The 5 core values that I chose are a function of I wanted something simple I could repeat to everybody who I ever come in contact with. I could easily remember myself, and I could use to help me to guide my choices when I face the worst adversity. Okay, so the values are that set of principles that you consider of great importance. Right, your beliefs are ideas that are accepted as true without any fact. In the last video that we shot, or I don't know what order these will be posted in by Zach, but there's a video in there about what do you believe. Okay, and the exercise was write down what you believe. Be prepared to change what you believe, but also be prepared to adopt what you believe and adopt what you value. But that's an idea that's accepted as true without any facts. Okay, it doesn't mean there are no facts, right? But it's that you're not basing your belief, your acceptance of that idea on fact. Okay, you're doing it in some cases on faith. Attitude is an ad here on this graphic, but it's a way of thinking or feeling with regards to someone or something. But what I wanted to illustrate here is that your attitude is a function of what you value and you believe. Okay, that your attitude that you walk through life. Your values and beliefs dictate the situations you put yourself in. Okay, as someone who believes that we're fallen beings, that human beings are fallen beings. Okay. And that we have to consciously walk through life saying, hey, if left to my own devices, that is, if I just sort of react to the world, then I'm more times than not, I'm going to choose what I want to do. I'm not going to choose what I need to do. Okay, that's the core of my beliefs, right? And that's going to lead me to bad outcomes. Why? Because we're fallen beings, right? Now, this is a secular message here. This is not a religious message. So, a function of my beliefs, believing that, and then my core values of transparency, authenticity, expertise, humility, and servant leadership, those 2 things dictate the situations I put myself in. A lot of us like to say that other people put us in situations. The reality is that we can take responsibility for 99% of the situations we find ourselves in, even if we're facing a mugger on the street at 2 o'clock in the morning. Okay? We can accept responsibility for that situation. Because there are things that we did that put us in that moment in time, and some bad actor entered into that moment of time, but we're the ones who put ourselves there. And this isn't victim blaming or anything like that, but it's about staying focused on the things you can control. You can't control bad people, but you can control the actions that you do that can limit your exposure to bad people. Okay? Your values and your beliefs dictate the situations that you put yourself in. The situations that you put yourself in are going to define the challenges you're going to face. Challenges are always a function of a situation, right? The challenges you face they're going to dictate the adversity you got to overcome. Okay. Most adversity that we face, it's a quick decision. It's really easy for us to make the choice on how to react to that adversity that'll get us to the best outcome. Okay? The way that we make our choices, let me do this. The way we make our choices is we use our values and beliefs to make our choices. Okay? But from adversity, we got to make a decision. And that choice is going to get us to either a good outcome or a bad outcome. Right? And I know this is all abstracted and it feels highly abstracted. It's not. It's practical. This is life. It's happening to you right now. It's going to happen to you in 10 minutes. When this video ends, within 1 hour of this video ending, you're going to see this happen. You'll put yourself in a situation, face a challenge, maybe a little tiny one, that presents some adversity you got to overcome, and you're going to make a choice. And you're going to do this over and over and over again every single day. And if your core values and what you believe are sound and moral, then you're going to make more good choices. But you have to be conscious of this. This is a thing you have to put in the front of your brain. You got to be thinking about it. If you're not satisfied with your outcomes, and it's real easy. Look at survey results all across the Western world. Is the world heading in the right direction, wrong direction? Are you happy with your life, not happy with your life? More people than not are dissatisfied with their outcomes. Guess what? I want to talk about something here. There's never been a time in human history where humans have been more selfish than they are now. That is, they believe that their own individual pleasure is a moral and noble goal, and they prioritize that over all other things, right? That's that moment right now. If that is an effective worldview, those values and beliefs are effective, then why don't we see an explosion of satisfaction, high satisfaction scores across the West? Why don't we see an explosion? And the answer is because those belief systems lead to bad outcomes, and people are dissatisfied with those bad outcomes. And the proliferation of the victim mindset and people not, choosing to be victims. People aren't saying to be, other than, there are people out there, but, I tell people all the time, stop being a fucking victim. You want my life. Do you want my life? Do you want the outcomes I've had? Do you want something similar? Do you want to see the same types of outcomes? Then, here's how I do it. I'm happy to share it with you. Here's how I do it. Okay. But if you're dissatisfied with your outcomes, you need to start looking at your choices. And if you start saying, hey, this choice is not a good choice here, and that wasn't a good choice, and that wasn't a good choice, you need to go back to your values and beliefs. What do I believe? What do I value? And then ask yourself, does that make sense? Is that going to get me to the outcomes I want? Am I satisfied with, making bad choice after bad choice after bad choice that leads to bad outcome after bad outcome after bad outcome in exchange for a little bit of short-term pleasure at the expense of long-term destruction? Are you satisfied with that? Come on. So understand, values and beliefs dictate the situations you put yourself in. Situations drive challenges. Challenges drive adversity. And choice makes all the difference in the world. Okay? I used an example in the victimhood video. That victimhood is a choice. To illustrate how I do this, right? I'm going to give you another example. Okay? I was facing a personal challenge, but I was facing severe adversity in a personal relationship I had. It was a long-term relationship where, the two of us, our lives were totally intertwined. And I believed that relationship was built on common values and beliefs, right? I knew that this person needed to grow over time, that they were going to need to grow, that they had challenges they were going to have to overcome, baggage from childhood and all that kind of stuff, but that relationship would bear fruit over time. I believe that. I believe that, but it was going to require me to grow. It was going to require this person to grow over time. But I believed that relationship was a foundation that was built on a foundation of common values and beliefs. Okay. And because of that, the situation that I was put in was, because it wasn't, what happened is that this other I put myself in situations that were a manifestation of my values and beliefs, and this person put themselves in situations that were a manifestation of their values and beliefs. And this person faced other adversity I didn't face. They faced challenges and they put themselves in situations that I wouldn't put myself in. They faced challenges I wasn't facing, and they had to overcome adversity I didn't have to overcome. Okay? Because I wasn't in those situations. They were in those situations because of the values and beliefs that they held. Okay? And the choices they made when the rubber met the road were also a function of their values and beliefs. And it led to destructive outcomes for this person, for our relationship, for the people around us who were who were benefiting from our relationship, from our community, et cetera. The adversity I had to face when that relationship started to fall apart, a relationship has to be built on common values and beliefs. You just can't have, people coalesce around common values and beliefs. Okay. When that relationship started to fall apart, I was now in a situation where I had to, decouple that, right? Start tearing it apart. And how do I make decisions about, disconnecting all the pieces? And the adversity I faced was whether to turn inward, focus on myself, and let my pain be manifest in my decisions and my choices, or do I do the moral and right thing and take the high road and keep my promise, even if I believe this other person didn't keep their promise, or by any objective standard, this other person didn't keep their promise. And so what I did was I went back to my values in the moments where I didn't have clarity. I went back to my values and I said, what do my values say I should do here? And this is what I did. I went through each value step by step. What does transparency say? That my core values haven't done me wrong in my life. And right now, when I don't have clarity, I don't know what to do here. Do I cut this person off? Do I keep my promises in the short term and take the high road and support this person in a short period of time, even though they made their own bed and they should have to lie in it? Some people believe. Should I lash out at this person, right? Take my pain out on that person? Should I do these things? In the moments when I was really struggling, I went back to my values and I said, what do my values believe I should do? So I'm going to continue to exercise discipline in my life. I'm going to use discipline to apply my values to my decision making. I'm going to respect people around me. I'm going to respect the process. I'm going to respect my community. I'm going to respect those who came before me. And I'm going to work hard. I'm going to continue to do those three things, right? But when in the moment where I didn't have any clarity, I said, what do my values say I should do here? Should I support this person? Should I do right by them? Should I, even if they did wrong by me? Transparency said, I need to be honest with this person. This person's not going to be happy with what I have to say to them about how I feel. But I'm going to say the things. I have to. Transparency hasn't done me wrong. I'm going to do it. I'm going to say the right things. And, I sent messages and email. Hey, I'm only going to say this one time, and I just, authenticity. I did it the way I am. I didn't try to, no one's ever going to say I'm a nice guy. I'm a good person. Lots of people are going to say I'm a good person, but no one's ever going to say I'm a nice guy or that I'm kind, or that's just not my personality. I'm a hardcore type A. I'm an alpha male. I can be domineering. By domineering, I mean I can like talk over people sometimes. I can be insensitive. I don't really focus on feelings a lot. I mean, I have lots of, remember humility. I have lots of things I'm not good at, and I surround people with empaths. I surround myself with empaths and stuff who are good at those things, right? No one's ever going to accuse me of being a nice guy. So if I'm being transparent, there's times when I'm going to be transparent in a really insensitive way. But as long as I'm right over the long term, that insensitivity is going to mean nothing because the outcomes were right. So authentically, I'm insensitive, and doesn't mean I don't care about people. Doesn't mean I don't care about people's feelings sometimes. But I don't prioritize feelings over good outcomes. I was an expert in that moment. So what does expertise say I should do here? Well, if I see myself as an expert level friend or an expert level partner or an expert level father or an expert level husband, if I see myself as those things, then I need to, what does an expert level do in that case, right? And so I said, I'm going to maintain that expert level, no matter how I feel, no matter how I feel wronged or whatever. Humility meant that what I did was I circled the wagons with the people closest to me to get their advice and get their support on the things that I'm not good at, And servant leadership meant that it meant that I needed to approach this person from a perspective of all is not lost, and for better or worse, I may still be able to help this person, and I'm going to do that, no matter what. No matter what. I learned really quickly when I was speaking with when I was talking to other people about this situation outside of my inner circle. A lot of people were stunned by the way I approached it, why I wasn't lashing out, the decision I made was to support this person. The decision I made was to stand firm on my values and beliefs. My decision was to be honest with this person about the consequences of their choices, the outcomes of their choices. My decision was to support the other people that this person hurt, where their outcomes hurt these other people. My decision was to move closer to them and support them. Okay. My decision was to support that person financially, provide stability, provide guidance, but be transparent in my authentic self through that process, and to be a servant leader. That was my decision. And I learned quickly when I was talking to others that I had made a choice in that situation when I was facing that adversity that most people wouldn't make. Everyone I talked to, 90% of the people I talked to said I wouldn't have done that. I would have lashed out. I would have fought back. I would have, I would have I'd cut them off, walk away. It doesn't mean I'm not ultimately walking away, but the decision was I can't do that in the short term, right? So, because I have a responsibility to this person. You have a responsibility to your friends. You have a responsibility to your spouse. You have a responsibility to your girlfriend or boyfriend. You got a responsibility to your kids. You have a responsibility to your community, to your colleagues, to your peers. I mean, that's the social contract we enter into. And living up to that responsibility is important to me. And if you want to be successful in life, it's got to be important to you. If you want the best outcomes in life, you got to make the best choices. Okay? And those choices are a function of what you value and you believe. And what you value and you believe is at the core of the situations you put yourself into. And the challenges you face are a function of those situations. And the adversity you have to overcome. The adversity you overcome is where these decisions come in. That's a function of the challenges you face. Okay? Two things. Number one, I want you to think about the last couple instances of adversity you faced. Okay, I want you to think about the last few examples of adversity, and how did you make the decisions you made coming out of that situation? Right? Was it conscious? Did you just react? Did you? What do you do when you don't have mental clarity? Do you go back to what you value and you believe? And do you say, what should I do here? What do my values say I should do here? Do you talk to people who share the same values and ask them, what do I need to do here? I can tell you this. I suspect most, if I'm talking to my grandkids, if my grandkids are watching this video, then I suspect they ask me, I suspect they're saying, how did Grandpa get so successful? I mean, if Grandpa's mom got murdered when he was a kid and he grew up really poor and he didn't have people to support him. I mean, I had support, but I didn't have people to support me financially and stuff. And, his family wasn't connected to get him his first job and all these kind of things. How did he get successful? Like, was it genetics? Was I just born genetically superior? Of course not. I have, little thing you guys may not know about me. This video is going to run long. I apologize, but hopefully it's valuable to you. And then I'm going to a call to action to you, which I was just doing and then cut off miraculously. I never knew who my dad was. My biological father. I didn't grow up with him. And I actually didn't ever find my dad. I'll tell this in a different story, but I didn't find my dad until after he passed away, and a year after he died. And I got introduced. I have brothers. So I have brothers on my mom's side, okay, where my mom who was murdered. My mom had 1, 2, 3, 4 sons, okay? And my dad had 1, 2, 3, 4 sons. I'm the oldest on my dad's side, and I'm the second on my mom's side, okay? So I'm one of 8 boys. I'm, on my mom's side, my older brother is, relatively successful. He was raised by his father. And we have different dads. And he's relatively successful. And then I've made good. I'm very successful. There's this, objectively speaking. On my dad's side, I'm the only one who's successful. I have another brother on my dad's side who's done pretty well. I actually work very closely with him. He and I are really tight. So there's one on my mom's side, one on my dad's side that have reached moderate success, and then you've got me. It's not genetics. It isn't genes. We all got the same fucking genes. You know what I mean? It's not genetics. It's not environment. You want to know why? Because I have a half brother I grew up with. One of the things that you guys, we have the same genes, and we grew up together. Okay, and he had a different dad but it's the dad who raised us, and he has a totally different outcome in his life. What's the difference? The difference is he values and believes different things than I do, and he puts himself into situations I would never fucking put myself in, and he faces different challenges. And he faces different adversity. And when he faces that adversity, he's got to overcome it. He's running his decisions through the values and beliefs that got him into the situation to begin with. So that's why he gets bad outcome after bad outcome after bad outcome. There's people all around the world. They're your neighbors. There's people down the street. There's people in your family who are dissatisfied with the outcomes in their life, don't take responsibility for the choices of the decisions that got them there, and just bitch and moan about it. Bitch and moan about it. Right? It's not genetics. What I'm teaching you here works. If you want the best outcomes in life, then you need to make better decisions, better choices. If you want to make better choices, okay, you better know what you value and you believe, and you better run your fucking choices through it. Okay? All right, in later videos, we'll talk a little bit more about, the core values and how to define what those are. Okay, we're going to do that in later videos. Do me a favor. Call to action. Call to action. I want you to think about I want you to think about two things. Number one, I want you to think about adversity you faced in the last month, give or take, where you made a choice or a decision that led to a really good outcome. Okay? And I want you to put that in the comments below. Or you just think about it yourself and talk to somebody about it. I'd love to read. I'd love to read this. That's why I'm asking. I also want you to think about a decision you made, adversity you faced, adversity you needed to overcome, where you made a choice or a decision that led to a bad outcome. And I want you to comment on that one too. It'd be nice if you just one comment, you put both in there. And if you don't want to comment, that's fine. Just go through this exercise. Okay? If you want to know something you do today, do this post-mortem. Okay? All right. The other thing I want to ask you to do, again, Zach is killing me here on this, but he's right. And please, this is a growing channel. We want to grow the channel as fast as we can. We want to touch as many lives as we possibly can. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Liking and commenting is obviously the most important, I think, for the algorithm, but we want to get the subscribers up because we can touch the most people. If you know someone who you are observing, you're watching, making bad choices that lead to terrible outcomes, please share this video with them. Okay, we want to change lives. And by extension of changing lives, we're going to change the type of world we live in. And that's not a grandiose idea. One person can have that type of impact if exercising humility, they surround themselves with the people that they need to have that impact. Okay. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next video.